Okay, so the 6 had its turn, so the 6 is here, and we counted the numbers behind it, so that's 2 zeros. Then you're going to put your addition sign, the 7 comes down here, that 3 turns into a 0, and then here plus 3. So they're just pulling that number apart and making it expanded form. For number 4, we tell them to have a little trick to write these big numbers because they get very confused. We tell them to cover the back part up. So we ask them, what number is that? And they'll tell you 345, and then the comma is the 1,000. So that's the trick. They have to cover that back number up or they get all kinds of confused. So 345, and then the comma is the 1,000, and then 234. And we just tell them to write it out and spell it the best they can. We're not worried about the spelling. So if you have a number in expanded form like this and you have to put it in standard form, we tell them to write it out. Now most of them don't want to do this part, but this is what they need to do to get the credit on the test. So we tell them that they have to line it up by place value. They don't line it up and then they make silly errors. So this is the easiest thing ever because it's nothing but zeros that you're adding. So you just line them up and add going down. So you would get 6,403. So if we look at a word number, we tell them to just go here and write the numbers above 1,640. Then we tell them, go line it up just like this again, and you get your standard form. So this part is renaming numbers. So we're supposed to write the correct number, 64 tens. So we tell them 64 tens means 64 times 10. And we showed them a little trick. That's 64 times 10. You can move your 0 over to the other side of your equal sign, and then it's 64 times 1. So you get 640. So we tell them that that's 640, and then this is just 5 ones. So now all they have to do is line it up by place value, and they can very easily get the answer, 645. Same thing here, it just wants to know how many tens would you have. I tell them if there is no hundreds blank, then you put the whole amount up until the ones in that first blank, because 74 tens, like we said, 74 times 10 is going to give you 740, which is the value of that 74 here, and then 3 ones. So in estimating, if you have a problem where it says you just estimate, it doesn't tell you to what place value, then you're going to round to the greatest place value. So you're going to come here to the thousands, you're going to underline it, and then you're going to circle the number to the right of it. We tell the kids this number may change, and this number is what's going to tell you whether or not it changes. So the 6, we have a little rhyme. If it's 4 or less, you would let this number rest. But since this 6 is 5 or more, you're going to add 1 more. So we say 5 plus 1 is 6, and then the rest turn to zeros. Okay, and these are the same as the other rounding. Comparing numbers they don't really have problems with. They just need to be careful. For this problem, part A, they want to compare the value of the 5. So the kids want to compare the whole number, but we want to compare the value of the 5. So here, the value of this 5 in New Orleans is 5,000, and the value of this 5 is 500. So then it tells us that we have to use greater than or less than. So we're going to say 5,000 is greater than 500, and then when we explain it, the kids know that this number and this number, if they're right next to each other, then that means the number to the left is 10 times greater. So the reasoning is that 5,000 is greater than 500 because, and I'll just tell you, I won't write it all out, because 5,000 is 10 times greater than 500. We've done about 5 problems like this, so they should be getting it by now. So then part B is when they want you to estimate. So part A, value. Part B, estimate. So that is rounding. So they want you to take the population of Baton Rouge, so that's 22,502, and estimate it. So again, estimating, you're going to underline and circle. This is 4 or less, so you're going to let this 2 rest. Okay, and then Morgan City is 34,750. So we're going to underline here, circle here. 4 or less, we're going to let this rest. So the kids are going to need to know 20,000 is less than 30,000, and then when it says explain your reasoning, they just need to tell me the population of Baton Rouge is less than the population of Morgan City because 20,000 is less than 30,000. So I hope this helps you to have the right answers and maybe help them with anything they're struggling with before tomorrow. Have a good evening. Thank you.